In Canada, First Nations secondary schools are paid less than half of what's paid to provincial schools. Over the past 10 years, the funding of provincial schools has increased by 45%, while the funding of honor reserve schools has only increased by 19%. In addition, teachers are leaving honor reserve schools to teach in the public school system, which offers a more competitive salary and educational resources like up-to-date textbooks, libraries, and technology. These factors have led to low First Nation education rates. Reports show that 58% of First Nations youth living on reserve have not finished their secondary education. Unfortunately, post-secondary education opportunities are also severely lacking for First Nation students. More than 5,000 First Nation students who are eligible for post-secondary funding are denied it every year. As such, there's a great funding gap between First Nation students and other Canadian youth, and a huge readiness gap is created along with it, which will contribute to the ever-increasing socioeconomic gap between First Nations and other Canadians in the near future. So what would happen if First Nation people attained the same educational levels as other Canadians? Reports show that $71.1 billion will be added to Canada's economy as a result. And in addition to the continued population growth in Aboriginal communities, this number will only continue to rise. Losing another generation of First Nations people in Canada hurts everyone, so it's time to stop the vigorous opposition and underfunding of Aboriginal education.
What happens when Indigenous schools receive equal funding? Wew'wasi was an Aboriginal school in Manitoba. In 2012, Aboriginal leaders persuaded the federal government to let them join the local school board, meaning that they now receive the same funding as regular provincial schools. This meant the school would now receive an additional $1.2 million annually. The school managed to hire more teachers and cut class sizes. The results this had were drastic. In 2010, only 3% of students in grades 1 to 4 had grade level literacy rates. By 2016, that number had jumped to over 46%. Wew'wasi was also able to provide more competitive salaries for teachers, allowing the school to retain teachers for longer. Teachers also claimed they were less stressed and have fewer behavioral issues to deal with. As Colleen Klierski, Wew'wasi's education director, states, "It's a happy place now."
Although this video paints a grim picture of the current situation of Aboriginal schools, it doesn't have to be this way. As shown by Wew'wasi, when Aboriginal schools are given proper funding, an environment can be created where both students and teachers thrive. While this issue is ultimately handled at a government level, you can make your voice heard by calling your local MP and sharing your thoughts on this injustice. The education we've received throughout our life should not be a privilege, but a right for every Canadian.